Imagine a city where tens of thousands of people have no place to call home. In this video, we're counting down 10 cities with the worst homelessness crisis. A heavy topic, but we'll tackle it with a mix of hard facts, thoughtful analysis, and a dash of humor, respectfully of course. Each of these cities faces a perfect storm of skyrocketing housing costs, economic challenges, and policy hurdles that have left many without shelter. Stick around to see which city clinches the unfortunate #1 spot. It might not surprise you. And hey, if you've got thoughts on this, drop a comment below. Have you seen homelessness increase in your city? What do you think is really causing this crisis? Let's talk about it. Now let's get into it. 10. Phoenix, Arizona. The heat is the least of their problems. Phoenix is hot, literally and figuratively. This city has seen an explosive rise in homelessness over the last few years, with more than 9,600 people living without a home on any given night. And in a place where summer temperatures can hit 110 degrees Fahrenheit, being homeless isn't just a struggle, it's a death sentence. The biggest problem? Rising rents and lack of affordable housing. Phoenix has become a magnet for people leaving California in search of cheaper living, which has driven up the cost of homes and rent. Wages, however, haven't kept up, leaving thousands priced out of their homes. Combine that with mental health and addiction crises, and you've got entire neighborhoods filled with tents and makeshift shelters. The city has started cracking down on homeless encampments, but without a clear solution for affordable housing, all it's doing is shifting the problem from one area to another. 9. San Diego, California. Beaches, billionaires, and broken dreams. San Diego might look like paradise with its sunny beaches and palm trees, but the homeless crisis here is one of the worst in the nation. In 2024, over 10,000 people were experiencing homelessness in San Diego County, and nearly 6,000 of them were sleeping outside, making it one of the largest unsheltered populations in the country. One of the biggest drivers, housing costs. San Diego's rent is through the roof, and buying a home is practically impossible unless you've got a tech salary or a trust fund. Meanwhile, shelters are maxed out, and the city's new anti-camping laws have made it illegal to sleep in certain areas if shelter beds are available, leading to a game of cat and mouse between police and homeless individuals. While the city has invested in affordable housing projects, the demand far outpaces supply. The result, homelessness keeps growing, and so do the tent cities. 8. Seattle, Washington. The Emerald City's dirty secret. Seattle is home to Starbucks, tech giants, and some of the worst homelessness rates in America. Over 14,000 people are homeless in the metro area, with 10,000 living unsheltered in a city that sees rain nearly half the year. What's driving it? Skyrocketing housing costs, a tech boom that's left lower-income residents behind, and a lack of mental health services. Seattle's combination of a high cost of living and a permissive approach to drug use has created a situation where encampments are visible on nearly every major street. The city has tried everything: affordable housing projects, tiny home villages, and aggressive encampment sweeps, but none of it has been enough. In fact, some argue that Seattle's lenient policies have attracted more homeless individuals from out of state, worsening the crisis. 7. San Jose, California, where Silicon Valley leaves people behind. You'd think the richest tech hub in the world wouldn't have a homelessness crisis, right? Wrong. San Jose has nearly 10,000 homeless people living in one of the most expensive housing markets in the country. With the median home price sitting at over $1.5 million, even middle-class families struggle to afford a place to live, let alone low-income residents. The city has been battling tent encampments along freeways and public parks, but solutions have been slow and expensive. Despite the billions of dollars in wealth flowing through Silicon Valley, tech companies have done little to address the crisis, other than funding studies about how bad it is. Meanwhile, the people struggling to survive in San Jose aren't getting solutions. They're just getting pushed further into the margins. 6. Las Vegas, Nevada. The hidden crisis beneath the Strip. Vegas is known for its glitz, glamour, and homelessness? That's right. While tourists drop thousands at casinos, more than 7,900 homeless people struggle to survive in Sin City. The situation is so bad that hundreds live in underground tunnels beneath the Strip to escape the brutal desert heat. Meanwhile, affordable housing is nearly non-existent, and shelters are stretched thin. The city has cracked down on encampments and even banned sleeping in public spaces. But without meaningful housing reform, the crisis just keeps growing. In a place where people come to strike it rich, thousands are left with nothing. 5. Boston, Massachusetts, where the cold can kill. Boston may not have the highest homeless population, but what makes it stand out is the brutal weather. More than 5,200 people are homeless in Boston, and when winter hits, surviving outdoors becomes a matter of life and death. The biggest problem? A lack of affordable housing and an opioid crisis that spiraled out of control. Boston's infamous Mass and Cass area has become the epicenter of drug use and homelessness, leading to an ongoing battle between city officials and advocates on how to address the problem. Shelters exist, but they fill up fast, leaving many to face the freezing streets with nowhere to go. 4. Washington, D.C. The nation's capital can't solve its own crisis. In the shadow of the White House, homelessness is reaching crisis levels. Nearly 5,000 people are homeless in the nation's capital, with a large percentage being families with children. Despite billions being poured into programs, housing remains unaffordable for many residents. Gentrification has pushed low-income families out, while government red tape makes solutions move at a snail's pace. If D.C. can't solve homelessness while surrounded by some of the most powerful policymakers in the world, what hope does the rest of the country have? 3. San Francisco, California, the wealth gap on full display. San Francisco's homelessness crisis is infamous. With over 7,800 homeless people, the city has become the poster child for a broken housing system. Why? Tech billionaires have driven rent to astronomical levels, addiction has gone unchecked, and mental health services are stretched beyond capacity. The result? Entire neighborhoods like the Tenderloin have turned into open-air homeless shelters. The city has spent billions trying to fix the issue, but progress is slow. For every person housed, more fall into homelessness due to eviction and financial hardship. 2. Los Angeles, California, Skid Row and beyond. Los Angeles. The name conjures images of Hollywood and palm trees, but LA also leads the nation in unsheltered homelessness. The city and Greater County has an enormous homeless population, about 71,000 in the city and over 75,000 countywide in 2024. To put that in perspective, that's like a whole mid-sized city of people with no stable home. LA's infamous Skid Row downtown has a few thousand people camped in tents, and there are dozens of other large encampments across the county. Venice Beach, Hollywood, freeway underpasses, you name it. What's particularly staggering is the majority of LA's homeless are unsheltered, living in cars, tents, and makeshift structures. The warm climate makes it possible to live outside year-round, but possible doesn't mean humane. LA's homelessness crisis is the result of many factors colliding. Housing costs in Southern California are through the roof, sensing a theme here, with a severe lack of affordable housing. Rents soared while wages for many workers stayed low, and there's a huge gap between rich and poor. Los Angeles also has dealt with mental health care failures. Decades ago, state hospitals closed and adequate community care never fully materialized, leaving many vulnerable people without support. Additionally, drug addiction, particularly methamphetamine in recent years, has hit hard. The sheer size of LA County plays a role. It's huge, so coordinating services and policies across different cities within the county is challenging. LA attracted people from other regions too. Some come hoping for opportunities or simply because they'd rather be homeless in a warm climate than elsewhere. And then there's bureaucratic red tape. Building new housing in LA can be notoriously slow due to regulations and community pushback. LA's nickname is the City of Angels, and it's clear the city is desperately trying to provide some angelic intervention to those who need it most, but it's a long road ahead. 1. New York City, New York, the biggest crisis in America. The Big Apple has the biggest homeless population of any US city, but it might not look like it at first glance. That's because the vast majority of NYC's homeless are in shelters. New York City has about 88,000 homeless people by recent estimates. However, as of mid-2024, an astonishing 132,000 plus people sleep in NYC shelters each night, including tens of thousands of families and about 45,000 children. That figure has surged with recent migrant arrivals. NYC's shelters are straining under record demand. To put it another way, NYC's homeless population is so large it could fill 2 entire baseball stadiums. The city's streets have fewer visible tent encampments compared to West Coast cities, but don't be fooled. The crisis is real and just largely housed indoors due to NYC's policies.